What is up, everyone? It is 2026. I cannot believe it. And I'm just here to say it's a new year, it's a new me. Just kidding. Same bitch, different year. Crazy things are happening, but all in good ways. Hopefully, nothing of last year is coming to this year because honestly, last year was a bit of a bust for me. And crazy enough to say this, I've officially not raced in over a year. I attempted to start a race, got injured. You all know the story, but I'm ready for a new year, a new thing of just getting back into the thing I love, which is running, and also diving into a few different things this year, which I will explain and kind of talk about my plans for 2026. But before we get into all of that, I just want to say last year, even though it was a little bit of a dud, I had an amazing time. Did so many great things and got to go out and help so many wonderful people. I had the pleasure of going out to the Monster 300 for the inauguration year and got to crew my good buddy Charlie and run some good miles with him. And it was an amazing experience. If you want any information on it, I recorded a podcast. I had Charlie on the podcast to even talk about it. It's in later episodes. Go dig them up and find them. If you cannot find them, let me know. I will personally send you the link and the recording, and you can watch and or listen. But it was a great year. And not only did I get to go out to the Monster, I went out to Tahoe and crewed Joe Corcione, where he had an amazing race, had an amazing finish, and I got to hang out with a lot of the coaches that are on the Everyday Ultra team, which was amazing. And it was the first time I got to meet Killian Korth in person, which now he is a great friend of mine and someone who's just out there crushing this ultra running scene. So it's super cool to actually get to meet him in person. And I went out and crewed a lot of good friends. So I got to go out to the Oregon Cascades and crew an athlete of mine whose name is Tom. And sadly, due to the fires, he was not able to officially complete the 100 miles, even though him and I both know he would have crushed that 100 miler. But he did go out and he got pulled right around like mile 64. So he still got a finish, he still got a medal, and all of that good stuff. It was just a little different because of the fires, and everyone's safety always comes first. So super glad everyone was safe and kept safe during that. But still, such a bummer to have to go the entirety and it come out the way it be. But so be it. It is what it is. I had the pleasure of going out to Forgotten Florida, which is actually local, a race I've already ran, and crew a good buddy of mine, Sean. I also went to the Keys to cheer on some athletes and then also to go out there and support some people just by stopping in and cheering them on, giving them good lucks and all of that good stuff. And then I got to go out to Across Florida 200 and crew a good buddy of mine, Kirk Blevins, and watch him finish the amazing race and witness my record get beaten, which was freaking awesome. If you want to check out that, I had Ashley on the podcast, and she is the new record holder for the Across Florida 200, and it was a great episode. So go check that out as well. And I also put it up on YouTube and explained kind of a little bit about life and what's going on, and got to share the crazy emotional roller coaster of being out there at Across Florida because I'm still not fully running back to my normal capacity. I've really gotten close and everything seems to be on the right path. Everything seems to be feeling a lot better. Still dealing with the ankle, but nothing that is honestly in pain or holding me back, but it's just taking things a little slower, doing a ton of PT work and strengthening as much of the lower portion of my body as I possibly can, all the way down from my big toe, all the way up to the hips, and just really dialing in all of the smaller muscles plus all the like accessory work and then even heavy lifting, which kind of brings me to something I want to do in 2026 is lifting more, but we'll get to that. um in 2025 it was way different than I anticipated. It happens. Injury, dropped all my races, still not fully running. But during all of that, there was a lot going on personally, and not like, oh, woe is me personally, but my life changed completely. Last year, I came into the year still working my job at the golf course, and I was transitioning to go full time as a coach. And then I started to actually work for the Everyday Ultra team. So I essentially quit my golf course job and went to full time as a coach, as an entrepreneur, I guess you could say, as a coach, and also working for Joe on the Everyday Ultra team, which has been amazing. And what a crazy, crazy ride life has been. I never anticipated life to be this way. It is weird for me to say I am a full time coach. And honestly, like a dream come true. I never anticipated life to be the way it is. I am so thankful that I have the opportunity to be in the situation I have been in and to be with such an amazing team and to be a part of this team. So I am so thankful for Joe and being a part of the Everyday Ultra team and being able to help him grow our team as much as we have and just be there for him and for the business and to do what we've done. I'm so genuinely happy and truly surprised by how crazy all of this has been for me, and I wouldn't change a single day. Don't get me wrong, there are days where I am slammed with work, with coaching athletes, coaching calls, helping Joe, putting out fires, crazy things going on, and then being like, "Oh yeah, this is what I wanted." And some days are super easy. So it's the life. That's how life goes. But it's just been awesome. I always tell Joe I'll never take the full title that he gives me. Technically, I am the COO of Everyday Ultra, but I always tell him I am the doer of things. I do the things that need to get done to hold the business together, not cutting out anything that Joe does because Joe is just as important, if not more important than I am. But it's just so amazing to be a part of this whole team and to be there doing all of these things. I never would have thought it would happen, and it has, and it's just been crazy. Again, I never thought life would be the way it is, and I am so thankful and just truly blessed to be where I am and doing what I'm doing. And being a part of this business has truly just opened my eyes to, I think, who I am too, and like what I'm doing. I enjoy leading people and coaching people. Obviously, like I coach athletes, but also coaching the coaches, which has been really, really cool, and just guiding them towards becoming better people, coaching and helping other people, and also running and putting structures in the business. I am OCD out the yin yang, and I like structure and systems and figuring out what I can do to make things easier and more efficient and productive, to be 100% honest. And that's what I get to do. So it has been amazing. I have done similar things in previous jobs and always excelled at them and really, really loved them. But now I get to do it for a business that I'm fully a part of and 100% stand by and have so much love and passion for, that it truly just makes what I do so much more enjoyable and truly means something, because at the end of the day, I love everything that Joe is doing and I'm fully support, I'd say, like 90% of his decisions. Sometimes I do throw some kickbacks, but that's a whole part of being in the business as well, is to have that ability to talk to someone and be like, I don't really think that's a good idea, but that's a great idea, and then go from there. But it's been amazing. I truly, truly am just so happy and so fortunate to be in the situation I am. So my personal life has been awesome, like crazy, crazy good. The podcast has been amazing. YouTube has been good. And I've really dove into a lot of new things at the end of the year that I will kind of get into. But during the whole year, everything was crazy with the injury that popped up and just so much travel, to be 100% honest. And then trying to figure out what the heck I was doing through the injury. As a lot of people know, when you get injured, the identity of you as a runner leaves and you're like, what do I do? I can honestly say I didn't really experience that. I just had to find something to keep me busy. And so I got back into strength training, and I've really fallen in love with that. And I'm super, super happy and excited for that, because I want to dig more into that in 2026. And honestly, like I kind of left it in 2024, 2025, because training was just so important and just so different. I do still love training. I love running. Nothing will ever come close to competing to like what that feeling of running is. But I also have gained back the love for strength training, which is just, it lights up my day. And even if it's a 20-30 minute lift, I am for it, I'm about it, and I'm fitting it in. So that's also like something for 2026. But again, 2025, it's really, because of everything that happened, like it really made me slow down and just realize that like, this is all great. Life is great. Work is great. But like, what are you? really wanting in life? Like, what are you really trying to do? I love the work that I'm doing. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change the podcast. I wouldn't change YouTube. I wouldn't change coaching or working for Everyday Ultra. All of that stuff I love and am still so passionate and so ready for. But I really found a side of me that I was like, I need to get back into being this type of person, which we'll get into because it's the two words that I am shooting for in 2026. And I'll explain that in a second. Yes. But causing the injury really caused me to like take a step back and then really dive into like what I want to do in running, believe it or not, as well, because the ultra world is getting so hype and I love it so much, but I felt like I was chasing after races and goals and just times. And I'm like, that's not really me. I just want to go out there and have some fun in the woods and do some crazy shit. I think that's a good thing to say is like, I want to push myself mentally. And I knew when I first got into running, like the hardest thing that I ever thought I could possibly do was run 200 miles. And I did that and it was awesome and I wouldn't change it for anything. So now I'm like, well, what else can you do? And as many of you know, in the training for the Barkley Fall Classic and H9, I was doing a ton of vert, but a ton of vert on a treadmill. So I, really just kind of played with the idea of like, what am I going to do? And I know if you follow along, I've made a couple questions about like what would be a good vert goal for someone that lives in Florida, what would be something crazy and, is a vert goal ideal? And, I talked to a few people. I just had Steve on the podcast and we talked about it afterwards as well. And I was really trying to figure out like, what do I want to do? Like what I don't really know what this coming year, the 2026 race calendar is going to look like. I have 2 for-sure races and one that I'm still still looking for. But I was still just kind of like, I don't really know like what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like I have the Dreadmill Challenge. I'm definitely doing that in 2026. I'm going to do it around my birthday. And I don't know if I want to go for a fast 100-mile or if I want to go for a 48-hour challenge and do something crazy vert mile-wise. I genuinely am not too sure yet. I want to do no business. I'm definitely going to sign up, put my name in for no business. And then I would like to do a backyard ultra. And that kind of works backwards. So backyard ultra would hopefully be in springtime. No business is in October, and then the Dreadmill Challenge would be in November. All of that sounds great. Love it. It's exciting. I'm excited for each and every one of those races. But at the same time, I kind of wanted something more. I wanted something a little different. I am very, very structured and I like a lot of systems in play. Actually, I have been seeing this quote, and I'm going to say it because I am a quotes person and I kept reading this quote throughout a few books that I was reading, and then it would like pop up on social media. And the quote is by James Clear. It says, "You don't raise to the level of your goals, you fail to the level of our systems." And when I heard that and read it, I've heard this before, and it's a quote again that I've thoroughly enjoyed and really, really like. And I was like, I think I need some more systems in 2026, maybe a little more structure. Nothing super crazy, super overbearing, but I do like the habit tracker. I like a good thing to like keep me on point. And I've always done steps. I've always had a step tracker, always trying to hit X amount of steps per day. I have more or less like just tracked my fitness through and through, whether that be a walk, a run, a lift, a kayak, a hike, a power hike, whatever the case may be. I've always tracked everything. So this year I wanted to do it a little different. I am still keeping a step goal. I've raised my step goal, which has made it tremendously harder, but I do walk my dogs all the time, which, that's a lot all in itself. But on my rest days, I noticed that I was experiencing maybe a little bit more of the sense of on rest days, it's really hard for me to get in the goal of my steps. So I would just be really lenient. Not gonna this year. My step goal is in there and I'm gonna hit it every single day. And because of another goal that I have, which I will get to, it requires me to maybe do some power hiking on the treadmill because I am going after a vert goal. And that is one of the big like running goals of 2026 for me. Obviously, it's to have some races, to go out there and have some fun. And I just literally posted this on social media and it was a reel. And genuinely in 2026, I just want to be proud of myself. I felt like last year I was so disappointed in myself because I got injured. I handled the injury really well, in my opinion. Others may disagree, but I kept busy. I worked on other things. I worked on the PT for my ankle, but I had such a great build up to a race that didn't go as planned, and it was just truly disappointing. So I just want to do everything I can to be proud of my own self for 2026. And I think having these little bit of goals in there is really what's going to help me, because like I can look back and be like, holy shit, look at all the stuff that I accomplished. And it's not only fitness related. Like I have tons of things in my personal life that I do that I track and I keep count and kind of keep progress in. And so that's a part of it as well. Like one of them is a reading and a writing goal. I know if you've been around, I talked about a book that I've been working on, and sadly, it stopped getting worked on, and that's a shame on me. But life just happens, and one of the goals for this year is like getting my ass back in track for my book. So a writing goal daily is a part of my thing, and I used to work on it here and there, but this year I really want to dive into it. So I have quarterly goals set up for my book, and then hopefully getting the final draft or really really close to the final draft by the end of the year. That's the goal. I want the first draft done by the second quarter and then to finish it. So you guys don't care about that, but it is a running book and it's for runners. I will maybe share details more later. I don't think I've ever shared details about it yet, so more to come. But all of this to say is like I'm really dialing in the structure and the processes for myself for 2026 to be better off. I am a type A person. I want to check all the boxes. I want to see the completion of things with the lenience of knowing life happens. I'm going to get sick. I'm not going to be able to do something on one day. I'm going to eat something that is quote unquote not healthy because I just want to, but I'm trying to keep things dialed in. I really let go at the end of the year and just kind of like chilled. Didn't really have any pressure of doing anything, but things are back on track. Everything is feeling really, really good. And I really just want to dial in all things for 2026. So that's like the main life goal is like processes, systems, doing the things that make me happy and trying to honestly be proud of myself. So, two, three, four big goals for me. I'm going to talk about some of them right here. One of the big things is following these two words. So, I actually sent an email to all of my athletes, and I send weekly emails to all my athletes trying to encourage and help them throughout the process of being an ultra runner and having crazy things happen to them and like normal life things. But the new year is always a good time to like reflect on like what you really want in life. And I'm a big proponent on like having values and missions and like a mission statement and like just a purpose. But one thing that I think a lot of us fail is like when we look at values, we think of like, I want to be a leader and I want to be resilient and gritty. And these are all great words. And I don't get me wrong, I have a list of them and they're all very much like good, positive, all that good stuff. But in reality, I sit back and think like, what would I really like for this year? And two words kept coming to mind. One of them I'll kind of explain a little more, but the first one is curiosity. And the reason that word, I feel like I pick this word every single year, but the reason and what I really mean by that is I want to be like my younger self. And what do you mean by that, Liz? That sounds so childish. But when I was younger, I was always asking questions. I was always curious. I was always not like second guessing things, but wondering why and like really just being open to a lot more in life, exploring things, doing things that like a quote unquote grown up would not do. And I want to go back to that. I get really, really stuck in my systems. I literally just talked about my systems and structures and how I'm doing life that way. I do need them. I prefer them. That's me. But I also need to have the flexibility and the freedom to just be a freaking kid and like go have fun and do some crazy things. And that's not saying like I need to go swing on the swings, because honestly, swinging on the swings get me motion sickness. I just can't do that. But I mean, just be freaking curious, have fun, examine, research, be a young Liz that's experiencing this world, not an older grumpy Liz that's experiencing this world. So that's a really really important thing for me for going into 2026. And that's not only in my personal life, but that's in my training and my fitness and just life in general. I want to be super curious and live through a child's mindset, if that makes sense, but as an adult. So it's kind of hard, but I hope you can understand what I'm trying to say in that. And then my next thing. So not a lot of people know this probably, but I'll kind of explain. I may have talked about it a little bit, but I used to, way back in the day in high school, I was really, really big into art. I was big into 3D art, pottery, drawing. I wanted to be an art teacher. I originally went to college back in 2010 to be a art teacher. I was going to get my AA and then stopped college, went back to college for a science degree, and then wanted to honestly teach and do research for biology. Obviously, I'm not doing that. I love what I'm doing, and I got out of all of that for certain reasons, but I wouldn't change what I'm doing now by any means. But what I've realized and growing up about, I've always kind of drawn here and there, but not too much. I've really stepped away from the creativity side of my life. And I realized getting into, after I was injured, I like started dabbling in journaling more, being more creative in that aspect, writing a ton. I write so much now, and it's not so much like I'm sitting and writing for a book, but I'm writing and planning and just I've realized that creativity has lacked in my life in so much because I'm a very stern, structured person, but I have such a creative side mentally and like just I want to express that a lot more. I know I kind of do it through the podcast and through YouTube and social media, and I'm still going to stick to that. I'm trying to figure out how to manage everything because as everyone knows, like life is busy. I've literally just talked about how crazy life has been, and I'm struggling with trying to do YouTube, trying to do everything all at once. So it's going to be a little different. Things are going to still come out, maybe a little slower, maybe all random. And that's only because like I am a one-man person or one man person. That's a good word, Liz. I am a one person doing all the things that I'm actually doing. I don't have a team. It's me. And my partner's going to get mad at this because she's always offering to help, but it's hard to have people help when you just have a system in play and it's easier for you to kind of knock it out. And no offense to her, it's going to take me half the time it takes her to edit something and do something of all that nature. So it's, very hard to manage all of this. And I get very caught up in a lot of like, oh, I didn't hit this timeline. Didn't hit that. But I can't, I'm not going to live that way this year. I'm going to do the best I can every single day. And I want to be creative with all of this. So if it takes a little bit longer to get things out, so be it. But another part of the creativity is I want to draw more. I want to maybe paint again. I used to paint all the time. I used to, make things and just be way more creative. So that is one of the other words that I want. So curiosity and creativity. I want to bring that back and just be a child and feel more inspired and driven because the more creative I've been the last few months while through this injury to keep myself busy, I've realized like I just attitude wise have been so much healthier. I genuinely feel less stress, less pressure. I am just truly enjoying life. And it's crazy because I go through moments and everyone goes through moments where like some days are better, some days are really bad. And I've just really realized these past few months have been just a delight. And I've really just kind of like been chill. And so I really want to dive into those two things in 2026. And it's written everywhere for me to see it, to remind myself. And I'm hoping you guys will help me hold myself accountable and just be more creative and more curiosity or have more curiosity in this world and truly just live life a little differently. So I know everyone's not here for this podcast to listen to what I want to do in the year and how things are going, but it's a new year. I'm still the same bitch. I'm just going to try to work on myself, which I'm sure each and every one of us do that. And this, I feel like, was a good little podcast to get out there to show you guys, like, hey, we're all freaking human. We do crazy things, and sometimes things don't always go to plan, but you can readjust. And it doesn't have to be at the beginning of the year. It can be whenever. I've been working on some of this stuff for the past few months. It's not like it's just new, but I'm just going to stick to it. And I want to stick to it for a full year. So that's one of the main goals. And hopefully everything that will kind of keep me on track for 2026. And throughout that, I'm just really trying to figure out how I'm going to manage everything. One thing that I think is crazy is I'm almost to 100 episodes on this podcast, which blows my mind. So I was kind of posting sporadically, hopefully once a week, sometimes 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes every other week. It's all random and it's going to stay that way. So don't hold me accountable for a weekly podcast. Sometimes it's going to be quick. Sometimes it's going to take a little while. Life just lifing. And that's kind of what happens at times. But one thing I really want to do is kind of get a little more consistent with YouTube and be posting maybe series and do some YouTube series on like training, and also maybe definitely do more lessons with Liz. I love doing stuff like that. I love educating and helping people, but it's always just not that easy. So I'm hoping to get some more lessons with Liz out there, do some more content. I want to get the monster documentary done that I've done for my good friend Charlie, and like just send that out there to the world, because I think it'd be super, super special. But again, I'm doing all of this stuff alone and I'm just doing the best I can. So that's all kind of like the hopes and the things that I'm hoping to do in 2026. But when, I mentioned the goals, I mentioned a vert goal and all of this crazy stuff. I think it's time to talk about the vert goal. So I live in Florida, and I think it would be insane to do some crazy vert, which does mean I will probably be on the treadmill a lot. And I'm okay with it, to be 100% honest. I don't hate the treadmill. I've literally had people be like, "You love the treadmill, don't you?" And maybe I do, but I'm excited to go after something that I think is completely impossible, and that is to have a vert goal. So I've talked to a few people. I've finally come up with a number. And the number, because I'm the type of person I am, is because of the age that I'm turning. So I am turning 35 in December. I know it's tons of time away, but I want to hit 350,000 feet of vert in 1 year. So for some people that live in a verty mountainous place, that's nothing. But for a person that lives where the highest mountain, quote unquote, hill that I have around here is roughly 60 feet tall, that's going to be really hard. And you may be like, well, if you run it on the treadmill, it doesn't count. Well, if you think that, then I hate to say this to you, but go fuck yourself. Because honestly, I'm going to do what I can, and that is going to be that I'm going to run as much vert as I can throughout the year. Yes, my treadmill vert counts. And I've double checked my treadmill. I've tested it so many different ways to see if it is actually giving me the correct incline, and or if the degree's correct, the belt, all of this. So I've finally come to the conclusion I have the way that I am going to count my treadmill elevation. And honestly, what I will say is I'm gonna be spending a lot of time on my treadmill, and I'm okay with it. I really am. I've already accepted it mentally. I'm hoping to also get out to Celery Fields, which is where the quote unquote Florida mountain is, and do a whole bunch of hill repeats, because honestly, I would much rather get in some outside training time. And if I'm going to be outside, I need to try to get vert. It's what it's going to boil down to. Almost all of my training, I'm going to need to try to get in quite a bit of vert, which then kind of brings me back to my step goal. And I recently just had a rest day, and my step goal is so high that I actually did some power hiking on the treadmill for my rest day. Kept the effort super, super, super easy, but I got in some extrovert. And I mean, you can't go wrong when you're trying to have a vert goal and you have a step goal that's kind of hefty. So my rest days may look a little different this year, and it could adjust. I know I will definitely have days where I just don't do anything, and I'm going to have to reassess and kind of readjust that week of training. But I definitely think these goals that I have planned are honestly what's going to be fun about 2026. And the vert goal is going to be the hardest thing. Like, that's a crazy amount of vert per year. And honestly, like, I tried to break it down weekly to look at it weekly, because it's a lot easier to look at that and think. And it's about a little under 7,000 feet over a week, which, if you're training 7 days a week and you're getting 1,000 feet per run, that's awesome. But reality is that's not likely. I am training right now 5 days a week, and it has been interesting to say the least. And it's only January 4th. So we're just getting started. I'm sure things will readjust, and I'll get on here and kind of explain the whole process and how life is going and how much my Achilles and calves are killing me. That is one thing that I will have to say has been a huge adjustment. And I'll kind of dive into this later, is like coming out of the injury, is I've experienced a lot of things that like are not talked about. And maybe I'll make a YouTube video on this. I'm like coming out of the injury, but I am definitely trying to keep things easy, because the ankle is feeling a tidbit angry with all of the vert that I've been doing. But it's normal. It's a lot of stress on the body. And one thing I will say is I'm just taking things extra precaution and taking them a little easier. Obviously, it's a lot harder to roll your ankle on a treadmill, but putting the stress of all of the vert and all of the running on the ankle is just a lot. So try to be really, really smart with that. And I think one thing that I am like just really being cautious of is like the vert goal isn't the end all be all goal for me. You know, it's a great goal to have. And honestly, I'm really excited about it. So I'm probably going to stick to it really, really hard. But at the end of the day, I'm going to listen to my body and I'm going to do what is right no matter what, because I don't want to be jacked up and not be able to run a race because of a stupid vert goal that I wanted to do. And I mean, it's not really that stupid, but you get what I'm saying. I need to be smart and I will be smart. So I'm definitely going to be smart. But it's just, you know, trying to figure out what can keep me going. And right now, the vert goal is super exciting. And I'm really excited to kind of dive into that and see what this year looks like, because already I've hit the treadmill so much and I don't hate it yet. It's only 4 days in, but I do know I'm going to have to give myself breaks. I do know that I'm going to have to take some time and definitely not be on the treadmill and go outside and smell the roses, because inside my garage kind of stinks and it eventually just gets really boring. But when you got goals, it's only for a year. So next year will be something completely different. And I will probably never touch a treadmill after next year. So what's 1 year of a treadmill, right? Another thing that I really am trying to work on for 2026, I kind of mentioned it, is strength training. So I used to really be really big into strength training and would lift all of the time, like 6 to 7 days a week. And I never ran, thought runners were crazy insane. But you know, things have kind of shifted and I got so big into running, and running is still super important. As I mentioned before, it's not going to change, but I do really want to focus on getting stronger and honestly just having muscle. It sounds super corny, but if you're a lifter, you'll understand when you have size and then you lose it, you feel so tiny. Like, I hate when people say I'm skinny. It drives me insane. I'm not skinny. I just lost my muscle, you know? So I've always been a tiny person, hands down, but I want to feel strong again. I want to look at myself and be like, damn, she's got some muscle to her. You know, I miss having that little bit of physique and just honestly feeling strong. It's such an empowerful feeling. And even for females, I get some people are like, I don't want to lift heavy because I'm going to look like a man. I will promise you, I lifted for about 5 years, as heavy as possible, eating as much as possible. I went months eating close to 3,000, if not a little bit more, of calories per day to try to gain as much muscle as I possibly could. I never took anything illegal, never took anything to enhance anything. And I never got huge. I got decently a little bit of muscle on me, but I never got manly, huge. I mean, don't get me wrong. I dress the way I do and I get called a boy every once in a while, but that's because of the way I look, not because of the muscles I had. I was never super jacked. I was never on weirdly, you know, I never had the muscles like that. You have to put in a lot of work, obviously, and you have to typically take something to make yourself be that big. And some people like it. I think it's awesome. Like, when I see a jacked woman, I'm like, you're fucking badass. You've put in a lot of fucking work to get there. And honestly, it takes a long time for your muscles to mature enough to have that structure and fitness when you're lifting. And don't get me wrong, sometimes people are just blessed and they're genetically gifted and they have bigger muscles and they appear bigger and look bigger. Not saying they don't have it or in that aspect, but it comes easier. Just like running comes easier to some people, so does gaining muscle. And or some people have just put in the freaking work to get there, and I just need to get back to putting in the work. I don't want to do anything crazy. I'm not trying to become anything other than, like, I just want to feel good, look good, and run. Those are the, you know, three other things I want for feel good, look good, and run in 2026, and run without injury. As you all know, that's probably one of the bigger things that I should mention too, is I'm done with injuries. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm ready to just go out and run and enjoy the life of running injury free. So that is another big hope with next year. So hopefully all of that goes to plan and I don't have to worry about anything happening injury wise. But we will see. I will keep doing all of the great things. I can honestly say my ankle is feeling a ton better and I'm feeling so much more confident. And I'm just waiting to not run with any pain. I know one day I'll get there, and it may be, you know, crazy to think it's been this freaking long and I'm still dealing with pain, but it just goes to show that sometimes things aren't as you perceive them to be. And if you push them even harder, that they only are going to get worse and you're just going to ruin everything. So I really messed up with my injury. I am reaping the reward of being stubborn. But it's all coming back. And this is something I want to maybe make a YouTube video about to kind of share and explain, but I'll talk about it a little bit on here is like, you don't realize how much you lose when you get injured. Don't get me wrong, it comes back. And I've had moments where like, or incidents where I'm like, damn, here it is. Like, I'm feeling so much better. But like, you don't realize how much your body gets used to the beating that you put it to until you don't do that anymore and you come back. Like, my knees hurt, my muscles hurt, my back hurts. Mentally, it is so hard to get back into running again. And that sounds crazy because like I've missed it for so long. But then when you're not doing it and then you come back, it's kind of weird. Like, you don't really want to run, but you do really want to run. But getting yourself to run is like one of the hardest things. And it's so crazy because like I remember I used to wake up and run right away. It was the first, and every time that's what I did. And my life changed. And then I would get up and I would have a morning routine. I'd have some coffee. I'd hang out with the dogs. I'd get everyone up and help everyone get ready for work and life. And then I would go about my day and do a little cycling here and whatever. And now it's just like the life is so different. And so now trying to readjust to get running back in line and where running feels really structured and I feel good in my runs, because I was trying to do it in the morning. I hated it. I was trying to do it in the afternoon, hated it, tried to do it midweek or midday and kind of liked it. And then now I'm like, I think I missed the morning. So I'm going back to morning. So it's kind of all over the place, but that's kind of how life is and trying to figure it out. I'm very fortunate I have the flexibility and the ability to be able to ease into this. I have no race officially on the docket until later this year. So taking my times with getting into everything correctly is really, really important to me. And honestly, with this vert goal right now, like training is going to look a little different because I'm going from very little vert to a whole bunch of vert and just trying to adjust my life around that. Honestly, the way I'm approaching vert is a little easier too, because like I'm going straight to a treadmill. So it's not like I'm hitting crazy terrain and or like high verti incline that I'm like stressing my body out. It's consistently at a certain percentage, and then I can change the effort and the speed as easily and as chill-ish as I would like. So it's not like I'm overdoing things in that aspect, which has been really, really nice. I will say I'm like not rocking the 1 to 3% as vert. So if I am running at that percentage, I typically I'm like not cutting it out, but I'm just trying to avoid that. So I'm either running at a -% which I do have the ability on my treadmill to run it from -3 to -1, or I'm anywhere from 3% and higher. And that's just because, and I struggle with this because I live in Florida and it's flat as shit out here. But I always like to say like 1 to 2% is where like I quote unquote leave the treadmill to be a normal flatness. And when I do that on the treadmill, it instantly starts calculating some elevation. I don't really love that. So that's like a little thing that is my problem, and it's no one else's problem, but I'm just sharing to, talk it through and feel better about it, I guess. Who knows? But that's kind of like where and what I'm doing with 2026. So I know it's a lot of shit that's not running related, but it is kind of running related because that's life. That's how life works. And I've really been diving back into reading and watching a lot of YouTube, motivational things, running things. And I've really come across a lot of things that have like just given me that good drive and determination to get back into things and feeling really, really excited for 2026, having the curiosity to be young and open-minded, having the creativity back into my life to just genuinely bring joy back into my life has been super, super important. And then just doing the things that I say I'm going to do. So diving back into, reading more, writing more, being healthier, hitting my training, getting back into the gym, all of these things to be a better person every single day. I know like some of the things in life, like we all get focused on like trying to do A, B, and C. And I maybe you're listening to this and like, holy shit, Liz, you're trying to do a lot. But I've always done about 70% of this stuff. So it's really not a lot. I'm adding a few new things, which are the struggles and the things that are going to push me for 2026. But one thing that I always try to tell myself and to people that I talk to is like, if you can be 1% better every single day, like you're going to be so much better in just a couple days, in a couple weeks, and a month, and a year, and 5 years. It's the little mundane things of being a little bit better every single day that's going to make a difference. So say you want to read more and you can only read for 10 minutes the first day and 20 minutes the second day, then, it might not seem like a lot, but it is. It's a little bit each and every day. Prime example with my step goal. I was like, oh, I'm going to probably have to, walk the dogs a lot more. And then I was like, well, maybe I could actually knock out some treadmill, vert power hiking, however you want to look at it. I could walk on the treadmill, get some good elevation, and like knock off some elevation that way for the week, because no matter what, elevation is elevation. Whether I'm power hiking or running it, I'm counting it all as elevation. Mind you, that does not mean I'm going to be walking every single day for hours on end. I just don't honestly have the time. But I did realize, like, hey, if I'm going to have a rest day where I want to get steps in and potentially get some vert in, I can power hike, and I can also read while I power hike, because I'm not trying to do anything strenuous. I'm not trying to be, as I call it, power hiking with intention. I'm just trying to get some good steps in and get some vert in as well. So yesterday when I did my power hiking, I was reading the entire time, and it was great. I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really, really cool. So little things like that I'm trying to do, just to be better and do better. And I'm very, very, very excited for 2026. I'm very excited to kind of see how and what the year plans out to be. I'm really hoping to be more consistent with some of my posting. I'm really hoping to get back into writing for the book. And if you do follow along, you've been paying attention and like being a part of me as a person and kind of like the tribe of runners and everything, is I was doing a newsletter and it stopped. And that's because I realized I was putting so much time and effort into that newsletter, but I wasn't writing for something that I really want to do, which is my book. So the newsletter will still come out. It will probably be a monthly to maybe every other month-ish type deal. Honestly, because my training is just not very exciting right now. I'm just doing a lot of vert, which maybe a lot of people want to know about. And I'm not posting so much on Strava. Strava was just over consuming because it was another thing that I had to update. And so I actually go into my Garmin app, and that's where all of my data is tracked, where I put all the elevation that I've gotten. And I've really dove in. So I really have dove into journaling more about my training, not only like how I'm feeling, but the runs, the lifts, and how much elevation. So all of that is being tracked by hand. I'm old school. I prefer writing things out, and I'm going to do that this year. I kind of dropped off last year because of how training was, but I'm really getting back into that, and I'm just enjoying it. I'm enjoying the hand with a pencil, pen in it, writing, and just really listening to my body. I feel like I got a little out of tune with my body in the past few months, and I'm just back. I'm back, and I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to really take on 2026 and just find out what I can manage and how well I can serve each and every one of you. As you all know, I'm a part of the Everyday Ultra team, and we're always taking athletes. If you're looking for coaching, sadly, I am currently full. My roster is full, but we have an amazing group of people on the team. I would love to link you up with someone. If you're interested in coaching, let me know. I can link you with any of the amazing coaches that we have that are still taking athletes. And if you're wanting to chat with them, we will set up a call where you can meet the person. You can talk to them. You can get to know them. Maybe you want a male over a female. Maybe you want a long distance runner compared to short. Whatever the case may be, let me know. I will hook you up, and we can get you rocking and rolling with a coach and be on the amazing Everyday Ultra team, because we are growing. We have so many new things coming for 2026, and I'm very excited to be a part of it and share this amazing team with the whole ultra world. So if you're looking for a coach, please let me know. I will hook you up. I will get you a part of this amazing team, because not only will you have an amazing coach you, but you will be a part of the amazing Everyday Ultra racing team and get to join just such a huge and amazing community. And truly just couldn't encourage you to join a better team with an amazing group of coaches. We have so many, and I would love to help you, tackle 2026 and just crush the year. So let me know if you're interested. We will get that going, and I will definitely help you out. And if you haven't and you don't, please subscribe. Please leave a review. You guys don't understand how much that stuff helps your little average person like Liz Myers grow and reach more people. And at the end of the day, I'm just trying to grow this amazing tribe of runners and truly encourage and inspire as many people as I can in this year with all the knowledge I give, all the amazing people and the amazing guests I have on that share their stories. I really hope that we can all come together and do it, to be 100% honest. And if you have a story or you think you have a story, please let me know. I'd love to have you on the podcast. I have so many people reach out that want to be on, and I'm always open to everyone being on. I promise, even if you think your story is not important, it is. Each and every one of us have an amazing story, and each of us deserve a platform to talk about it on, to share it with. And I would love to have you on mine to share the story to as many people as we can together. And with that, I am here to say we have come to the end of the episode. But before I go, if you have goals that you are setting and you are unsure and you're not too sure, reach out. Let's chat about it. And just remember, you need to go after the big, crazy, scary thing. Don't set easy goals. Don't make it easy on yourself. Push yourself. We can do a lot more than we think we can. So if you think you kind of want to go for a big goal, go further. Reach harder. My big thing for this year is I really want to suffer. I want to suffer less. But the whole point of that is I'm going to suffer more now so I can suffer less in the future. That's like a big thing that I've been reading and talking about and saying and seeing is like, doing all of the things now to suffer now, to suffer in the moment, in the present, to suffer less in the future. And that is the whole name of the game, because we grow, we become stronger, we become more resilient, we become better to continue to push and become better each and every day. And that is the goal for me, for my life. And, I'm hoping each and every one of us can do that together as well. So go out there, crush the crazy dream that you just don't know if you can do, because I definitely know you can do it. And I'm hoping we can all do it together and just share the crazy enjoyment of this thing we call life. So thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you have any questions, if you want to be on the podcast, please reach out to me. You can find me on social media. You can send me an email. You can do whatever you would like. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the podcast with your friends. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.